Yeah, welcome to another episode of the Racer X Exhaust Podcast, brought to you by Yoshimura. 65 years of four-stroke research and development. They've got something that you want, which is a awesome exhaust system for your dirt bike, street bike, ATV. You name it, they've got it. The stuff looks good, and I think the coolest part, actually made right here in the USA. Don't let the Yoshimura name fool you. This stuff doesn't come from Japan. They have a really cool shop that I have walked through in California. It's really happening right there. Trump would be very, very proud. No tariffs needed. Check them out, yoshimura-rd.com, and also check out Yoshimura on Instagram at Yoshimura_RD. Also, this podcast brought to you by Air Medcare Network. What if you're hospitalized with an injury far from home? You want to recover close to family and friends. And with an Air Medcare Network Fly You Home membership, you'll have control of where you're treated. You'll be transported to your local hospital of choice with no out-of-pocket cost. You can save $10 with the offer code 10MOTO. That's 10MOTO. Visit airmedcarenetwork.com/RacerXoffer1. It's a way to get a plane to bring you home if you're injured and you're not at your local hospital. Air Medcare Network. It's a great idea. It's shockingly cheap, too, considering what they give you. I don't know how it works. I guess enough people contribute, and it defrays the cost. Sounds good. Now, last week on our show, we reviewed Adam Cianciarulo and his drive to the 2019 250 National Championship. I also planned on sharing the press conference from the Motocross Nations team. They held it right before the Ironman race, but I had enough material from Adam and Mitch Payton to make an entire show, and I didn't want to muddy the waters by talking Donations and Championship, two unrelated things at the same time. I do have the audio from the press conference, and I can use it for my podcast if I want because I was the host. It's my duty. I do it for my country. Normally this podcast, this press conference for the Nations is pretty boring. There's really nothing to say. But this year, it was quite intriguing. We all know that the Team USA effort is in a bad way after getting blown away, not being competitive, not being on the podium at home at RedBud. Last year, there was nothing much more to say than the race is going to be awesome, and yeah, we're going to win, and everybody believed it. Now we know there is a real crisis, and even worse, they're going into the cauldron of a sand race in Holland. This is one of the steepest tasks that any Team USA would face. And Team USA, you have to say, isn't as strong as it once was, since they haven't won the event since 2011. And they didn't get their first pick. They do not have the national champions of Eli Tomac or Adam Cianciarulo on the team. Kawasaki did not want to be part of it. I talked to Bruce Sternstrom from Kawasaki for a long time at Loretta Lynn's this year, and he laid out his points. He feels that the season is too long. Riders only have so many good races in them. Extending the season, especially here with a race that's so far after the fact, is really going to dig into them and hurt them on the backside of their career. So that's the way he's felt. And I got to say, I first met Bruce in 2001. He's been pretty consistent with that donations message ever since then. I remember all the way back in 2005, James Stewart was not going to be on the donations team, and Bruce was fine with that, and everyone was mad, and Bruce didn't get why they were mad. He has at least been consistent with this for a long, long time. So, no go for Tomac and Cianciarulo. But that doesn't necessarily, I think, make this a B team in the traditional sense. You have Osborne and Anderson. They're both 450 riders. They both had good seasons. They're racing 450s. You didn't have to take a guy from a 250 class and move him to a 450 like some of the teams that were considered B teams of the past, like Australia in 1992, where Mike LaRocco raced a 125 all year, had to jump up to a 250. We had Cooper Webb, a 250 rider, racing a 450 a couple of times in this race. At least these are guys, Justin Cooper on the 250, they're racing the class that they normally race. But there's a deeper problem than just not getting the good riders. When I went to RedBud last year, I was not just shocked by the lack of performance of the team, but I have to say, man, the lack of organization. People have made fun of Team France for some of their decisions through the years of not putting Marvin Musquin on the team. And right now, they are, I'm sure, facing their own drama over there because Tom Vail of the MX2 division, an easy pick for the team, is now off of the team because he has to wear his Red Bull hat, and Team France wants him to wear Team France stuff. That is an unbelievable thing to leave a rider off a team for. But every time we've questioned the motives of Team France, they go out and win the race. And when I got to hang out at the Team France victory party last year at RedBud, I learned a lot. Their level of organization and camaraderie and teamwork, they had everything, including the speeches, the post-race speeches in the truck when everyone should have just been hammered and celebrating and partying. Nope. They had to come out and do their speeches individually. The audience would have to get quiet. The riders and the team managers stayed inside the truck so they wouldn't be in the crowd drawing attention. And I talked to some other people involved with the team. I think Max Anstey, I talked to him. He was teammates last year with Gutierrez Paulin, who was on the French team. And he's like, oh, you don't understand. They bring the French doctors, the French trainers, the French chefs. The level of organization that the French team has is astounding. And it is not just a coincidence then that they are winning this race year after year. And by the way, they don't always have their best riders. They've left Musquin off the team more often than they put him on it. Last year, Romain Febvre got hurt. They put Jordi Tixier on the team. I think when they announced him to the team, he didn't even have a team or a bike. Still came through as sort of a privateer and got it done. One year, they had so many injuries, they had to pull a former MXGP motocrosser, Christophe Charlier, pull him out of the World Enduro Championship to race MX2, and they still won the Nations. Meanwhile, there were holes in the Team USA game. I heard all sorts of stories all weekend about, the team not having a full meeting with everyone together, or Roger DeCoster didn't go over to this truck enough to talk to this rider. They were all pitted in their separate rigs. So there really wasn't a big connection between DeCoster and Barcia or Tomac or Aaron Plessinger because they were in 3 different rigs. And the thing I noticed, this was terrible. Final moto of the day, and by the way, MXGP and Denation's starting gates are designed to favor the gates. It's not designed to be an equal start where you can get the whole shot from anywhere. They want to make Saturday's qualification races for gate picks very important. So they make the inside gate much better than a gate next to it, and then the outside gate is terrible. So gate picks are huge. If you can't get an inside gate, you're in big trouble. So there I am in the skybox, that second-story tower that they have, and you can stare at the starting gate before Moto 3. And for some reason, even though Team USA has a terrible gate pick because they're way back in the standings, like the 4th gate from the inside is just sitting there open. I don't know why. The Dutch team has already put Hurlings in their good gate. And there is Glenn Coldenhoff standing behind gate 4. I think it was gate 4, maybe gate 5, waiting for someone to take it. Waiting. And here comes Justin Barcia. And they don't even look to the inside. Barcia takes a gate way out in the hinterlands on the outside and just leaves that inside gate there. Every team runs to their first pick. They don't take it. Coldenhoff's there with the second gate pick for the Dutch. He gets gate 4. He and Hurlings line up next to each other, both with inside gates. And then immediately start the race 1-2 and go on to finish 1-2 in the moto. And then I went to Monster Cup a week later, and I asked Barcia, why did you not take that inside gate? And he said, I didn't know it was there. And his team manager, Jim Perry, also, they were mystified. They had no idea that a gate on the inside could have been available with a terrible gate pick like Team USA had. They just didn't know. They should have had someone standing in the skybox staring at the starting gate with a radio. And there were a million stories like that throughout the weekend of like, man, I don't know if they were fast enough to win. Maybe it's the track. Maybe the MXGP riders are just better. But at least give yourself your best fighting chance. So that's what's disappointing. And that's what makes this press conference impressive to me. Zach Osborne is going to do his best to make it a team effort and not stick out compared to the other riders, but I am 100% convinced that behind the scenes and throughout the year, Zach Osborne has been taking notes and figuring out all the little puzzle pieces. He can't guarantee wins this way, but this Team USA is not going to make those mistakes. And Zach has actually said that a lot of the experience comes from his time racing for the American ISDE effort. And in 6 days, there is a lot more strategy, a lot more, looking into the rules and how they work and how to exploit them to your advantage. I'm not going to say cheating, But there's a lot more thought and strategy that goes into a 6-day-long enduro race, and he learned a lot of lessons from that he wants to help apply to Team USA this year. So in this press conference, Zach will be fairly modest, but I think he's a more integral part of this unit than just a rider on the team. And they are going to try to take steps, I believe, to have the unity, the camaraderie, the communication, and the prep. Because if Zach Osborne is the team captain, well, the team leaders are Team Fried, Jason Anderson and his buddies, Tommy Tenders and Matt Rice. They are going to potentially change the way the Americans look at Motocross of Nations, because instead of looking at, oh man, this race is 5 weeks after the last national, what are we going to do? I don't even want to ride. I'm burned out. Nope. September 1st, these dudes took off and went over to Holland to ride for a month. But, dude, he's hanging out with his buddies. Of course he's going to have a good time over there. Team Fried is going to love it. What's Team Fried, by the way? Team Fried is basically Anderson has buddies. A lot of riders have had buddies. Why not have those buddies make content? Matty Rice and Tommy Tenders, as they call him now, the chicken tenders master, loves the fried chicken tenders. I don't know if that's where the name comes from. Anyway, they're going to have a ball. They're going to have a good time. They're going to enjoy it. They're going to use this month. Probably some cool Team Fried content coming out of there, so watch YouTube and also Anderson's social media, and also watch Anderson at this race, because there's one other advantage for Jason Anderson. Not only is he going to be having a great time, not going to feel burnt out, going to have plenty of prep, but I don't think Anderson really feels pressure like other riders do. I think that's why he's traditionally done so well at the beginning of the Supercross season. He's won Anaheim one before, finished second there before a couple of times. He's won it on a 250 a couple times. I feel like in the high-pressure races, Anderson is so chillax on his program. He doesn't let that stuff get to him, and that really helps at the Nations. Remember, the one time Anderson was on the team, he rode very well, won a moto, and then was landed on by a rider from Japan. So there are many small behind-the-scenes things. The leadership of Osborne, the organization, the extra prep the team is putting in, the mental state that Anderson is going to be in, that really help. And I at least would think will erase some of the problems that the team had last year. Are they going to be good enough to win on European sand? It's still going to be tough. But here's the motto for Team USA. Just show up, man. Just show up. We have now seen that Motocross of Nations is no longer always just won by the fastest team. It usually comes down to the team that has the least bad luck. France, their organization is so strong, they're able to avoid the catastrophic problems, and that's often why they win. They don't even win motos very often. You cannot look at it the way Team USA did back in the mega win streak days, where they were just 10% faster than everyone else, and no matter who they put on the team, they would just win motos and win the overall. This is not 1989 any longer. The Dutch team was the best team at RedBud last year, full stop, no doubt. They didn't win the race because randomly Calvin Vlanderen was hit in the eye with a rock and couldn't finish a moto and couldn't race his second moto. That's what it came down to. So all you got to do is show up. And look, attrition is already wiping out a lot of the contenders. France is good. France is organized. But they did lose Fevre, and they did to a broken leg, and they lost Vial to this logo controversy. So they've lost 2 of the 3 riders they wanted to have on their team, and we're a month from the race. The Great Britain team, they've lost 2 of their 3 riders to injury a month before the race. It's tough. It's tough. Clement Dessau, I don't think he's not a sand specialist like most Belgian riders are. He's more of a hardpack guy, but he's still Clement Dessau. He's always been a great rider in Europe. He's not on the Belgian team. He's out injured. What I'm saying is a lot of top dudes are injured on a lot of teams. Now, the Dutch team is at full strength as of now, but all you need is one problem, and you're in it. So my motto for Team USA this year is not USA, USA. It's just show up. Just show up. I'm going to play this press conference. I'm going to jump back in and break down what I believe is the true meaning of each thing that these riders say in the presser. Enjoy it. Osborne, it's your second appearance on the team, but it seems like it might as well be your 12th. You're into this event. You love this event. You seem like you were all in on this all year long. Even though you only technically raced for Team USA once, it seems like a race that really means a lot to you.
It is. I mean, it's one of my biggest dreams as a racer was to be a part of Team USA, and to now have it 2 times is really awesome. I always felt like if you set the goal to be on the Nations team, you had a good enough season to deserve something pretty big, which is the honor to be on the team. So I always felt like that was a really good goal and mindset to have. And, for it to come true the second time is really awesome.
For Justin, you're relatively new to the pro ranks overall, and say 5 years ago as an amateur, literally we didn't even know who you were. I'm just telling you, right? So did you think like, hey, I'm going to be on the Nations team someday? Was this even a dream you had a couple of years ago?
No, it's been so crazy. Like coming up as an amateur, I was really no one, and every race, every year was just like a stepping stone, and I'd set new goals for myself in that season. So slowly but surely, we've been making our way up the ranks, and now second full pro year, we're headed for the biggest I think honor you can have as a rider for this country. So pretty speechless on it all, but it's been a long journey.
And then, Jason, you rode for the team before and kind of stepped up. You had missed a lot of the season in 16 and kind of rushed back just to race the event that year. So talk about what this event means to you, because obviously you could have not done it, and you've chosen to do it before.
Yeah, I mean, the year I did race it, I only think I raced 2 races that whole year. So I love the event. The event is fun. Obviously we have, pride for our country, so we want to go there. We want to do well, and honestly, the event's just fun, and I thrive off those conditions. So it's going to be a good time, and I think we're going to have our hands full with the conditions. But I think all 3 of us are, we're ready to go over early and prepare the best we can. But I think we have a good shot at doing very well, and we're all excited, and a good group of guys, and yeah, we're going to have a great time.
Cool. All right, we got some questions. I got plenty myself, but
Jason, last time around, it was spectacular, both for the highs and lows within one moto. Is top of the instruction list for this year, don't roll the finish line jump?
Last time, it started off all bad, because in the qualifying race, I broke my foot, and then tried to get that together, did the first race, that fiasco happened or whatever, but it was wild. So I'm hoping it's a little less dramatic this time, but hopefully same riding, same result would be nice. But at the same time, it's a team effort, and we're all there to accomplish one goal, and that's the plan. But yeah, less dramatic as last time, and we'll be good to go.
Justin, I saw you have a Team USA helmet that's pretty spectacular. The guys on either side of you usually have black gear. Do you guys get to step up with the custom helmets too, or not?
Yeah, we
Not today, but yeah.
Yeah, this is like the only race that we're able to. So we definitely are stoked about having a different helmet. I think I ran the same paint job for 10 years, so it'll be nice.
Let's talk about the conditions a little bit. We know it's sand. They're really good at riding that over there. It's in Holland. That's kind of their specialty. It's not a normal motocross track because it's really a road race facility that they truck sand in, but it's still a sand track. So for all 3 of you, just talk about adapting to those conditions. How good are you normally in sand, and what are you going to do to get ready for this?
Obviously, for me, Southwick was my best race this year with a 3-1 and some really good riding. I've raced in European sand before, and I know sort of the gist of it. And we have a really good plan with training and riding, and also with some settings from the European teams from Husqvarna to go there and really make a good push for it. So I think we have all the right pieces to the puzzle and all the right support to be able to go there, adapt quickly, and really get our feet dug in to going for a win.
What is this schedule? What are you guys going to do? Do you know yet exactly?
Yeah, I mean, Jason goes on the 4th, and then we start riding. I go on the 9th. We start riding on the 10th, and we have a pretty big test with the factory straight away to kind of sort through some settings and some changes with our bike that they feel will benefit us in the sand. And then from there, it's just kind of adapting to the time change, the food, and settling down into a routine that we're used to and comfortable with from the States, and just go to the race.
So then for both you and Jason, that's a long time. You're there for like almost a month. So what's that going to be like? Obviously, it's got to be weird, but maybe are you looking at it as a fun opportunity? How does that all work?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I fly out September 1st, and bringing my buddies with me, and we're gonna enjoy it. It's Euro trip, so we're gonna have a whole month there and just ride sand. And I think honestly, if we were to stay at home in Florida or California and ride to prepare for the event, it would be a little bit harder because I think that change of scenery honestly makes it feel something new. Kind of helps us out a little bit as far as staying motivated and stuff like that. But I think, and me and Zach, we got a place. We each got our own place. We're staying next to each other, so I think it's going to be all in all an experience and a good time, and we're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy it.
Jason, what's your sand riding background? Do you look forward to sand tracks in particular?
I feel like I'm pretty decent. I don't know. Me and Zach went and rode Croom the other day, and I feel like we rode it pretty good, but I don't know what that is compared to the sand over there. But I think that it's gonna be fun. But no matter what, if we're gonna put our best foot forward, and I mean, I think I'm gonna be good, but we'll find out.
Yeah. Hey, Weege, back here. First of all, remember Yoshimura, our title sponsor. Second of all, did you hear what Anderson said? He's not burned out. He's not, I got to keep doing motos for the next 4 weeks. He's already in Europe. Check his Instagram. He's already been there. He's as hipstered out as can be. He's got his wool cap on. He's in an apartment like in the middle of, I assume, Holland or something. And he's got his buddies with him. They've taken what used to be a chore and turned it into a fun experience. If this actually works and Team USA wins, we have to give a lot of the credit to Team Fried. Back to the press conference.
Zach, having done the GP circuit over there and some of the really gnarly sand tracks, what do you change on technique, and is there anything that you can offer these guys as far as help and suggestions?
I mean, they're both just as good as I am or better, in certain situations. So not really. I think as far as technique goes, it's something that you kind of have to experience and learn and find yourself. Obviously, I have a little bit of background with the bike settings and everything, but we have really good support from Husqvarna and Austria to manage all that. So I think we're in a really good spot. I know that there's a lot of, not negativity, but a lot of doubters as to why we're even going or whatever, but I think that we're in a much better position than that. And, I think that we have a really good chance at doing really well. The Motocross of Nations is a hard event to win, and I think that just showing up and being there and putting yourself in the positions to get good finishes can really change a lot in the end.
Wait. What did he say? Let's go back.
Just showing up and
again.
Just showing up and just showing up and just showing up and.
Oh yeah, that's the motto, baby. Just show up.
Just showing up and.
Zach, you're a damn genius. Back to the press conference. Okay, so we know the schedule for these two, the teammates. What's your travel plans, Justin, and what's your background of riding in sand?
I grew up on Long Island, so about all I had was a sand pit. And, 65, 85s, I was always into the 30-minute motos, trying to do what the pros are doing. But a lot of experience in that kind of sand, but obviously going over there, it's quite different. I can imagine. I've done a couple beach races, actually, that I think are kind of be similar in that sort of sense, and they're definitely a lot trickier. So sand's a lot more slick and stuff like that. So it's going to be important to get over there pretty early and adapt the best we can before we put ourselves in that racing situation. So I'll be headed over there, I think the 15th, and we'll get about 2.5 weeks of riding in before. But yeah, until then, just go back to California, figure out. Ride the bike a couple more times while we're going to be running at the Nations, and just get a little more testing time in to get the most out of the bike, and before we head over there.
Justin, it sounds like this time around there's a little more togetherness too. People aren't or the plan is to not have everybody so isolated in different tents.
Yeah, we plan as soon as I get over there, they'll be riding together, doing their own testing, and then once I get over there, we'll be riding at the same tracks and, be a team and, giving each other pointers and just, getting set up as a team to go over there and be comfortable to race as a team.
Yes, Justin Cooper, yes, that's right. Team effort from Team USA. And who is the linchpin of it all? Listen to this genius rider here.
We're actually making a big push within Team USA to bring sort of the unity back to it and not be so sprawled out, and really better communication with everyone within the team to bring the unity back to it.
Zach, obviously I know Jason's raced in Europe before, but as a team captain and with your previous experience in Europe, what's the one or two things you would really tell the guys to be prepared for, whether it's like food or language or travel or whatever?
I would say mainly pertaining to this race, it's a pretty intimidating experience. There's a lot of fans that are just as passionate about their country as we are about our country, and they can get pretty rowdy. So I think the biggest thing is just kind of blocking out the haters, if you will, and just going there to do our job and represent our country and be ambassadors for what we are and who we are and what we represent.
Maybe a quick question for Justin. Justin, I know that your teammates, Rockstar Husqvarna, have a really big global presence and are really big in the GPs and everything. Of course, I know Yamaha has a 250 GP team and stuff, but is it too soon, or have you guys had any discussions with how Yamaha in Europe is going to help or support you?
Yeah, I believe the team has been talking to the Kamiya team, and they've always helped us as we've gone over to Europe. So they'll be more than happy to help us, and I think get us in a situation to where we have everything we need to go and do our testing and all the stuff that we need to get done over there.
One more question. Were any of you guys at RedBud last year? Did you watch it on TV? And what, I guess, anything stand out from that race?
I mean, I watched it on TV. Everyone, the same thing stands out as, the track was a little bit different, and the success, maybe we didn't do what we thought they would as a team. So really, that's neither here nor there. I mean, it's in the past, and we're trying to move forward and put Team USA back on the cup.
I'll leave it open to whoever wants to answer it, but do you guys actually enjoy having a little bit more of an underdog role this year rather than last year? The expectations for Team USA were really high because partly being at home, partly the team that was out there. Do you like this role a little better?
I think for the past 6 years, I feel like we've been kind of the underdog, but USA itself has always had a big presence at the event, and everyone, it's always, there's the other countries there, but I really feel like it's USA versus everyone else. That's what everyone looks at. So, yeah, we're underdogs, but people, they're still really curious on how we're going to do against them. So there is a lot of attention on us still, every time we go over there. But at the same time, it is nice not having 14 wins behind us. I mean, not that I'm bummed or anything, but yeah, I think it'd be nice to hopefully break that streak and bring it back. But yeah, it's for USA. There's a lot of attention, and no matter if you're the underdog or not, people are watching you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much USA against the world. No matter what year we go, what team we have, everyone's looking at USA and seeing what we're bringing pretty much. So no matter what any people say about USA, like, we're going to be a threat each year, and it's really expected out of us, I guess. So, yeah, the goal is to go there and win, and I think that's always been the plan.
Hey, Weege here back. Look, Justin Cooper is new to this. He's only been pro recently. He might not have been paying attention. You have to be careful when you say things like the plan is to go win. I do not think he meant that as like a shot across the bow of, hey, Jeffrey Hurlings, we're coming to own you at your home track. But emotions often get hyper-focused at this race. There is a reason why everyone's looking at Team USA, and it's not just because they expect them to win. But I'll get into that at the end. There is a reason why the Team USA result means so much more than the result of any other team, and it's not just because I happen to be from America. But let's just get back to the press conference and hold that thought, okay? Let's go. For all three of you, you're putting a whole month on the back of your season. How do you adjust to, you got to be ready to race Supercross in January, assuming you're racing West. You guys certainly will. How do you put that whole program together? Because this would be a great time to actually get a break, and you're certainly not going to get it. So how does that all work for all three of you guys?
For me, September and October are kind of an awkward situation anyways. I think for everyone with the Monster Cup being thrown in there, and so it's kind of train in September, train in October, and I enjoy. Like you said earlier, I'm very passionate about this race, and it's something that I really want to do. So for me, it's just a choice of whether I want to train in October or September, and I would rather just train in September. I can go to Europe and enjoy some time away from the heat in Florida, and like Jason said, it's a good change of scenery. We can continue riding and stay sharp, and it's just a great opportunity for me.
Are you worried at all, Justin, that, oh man, because I put an extra month on my season that it could affect next year? How do you manage your whole off season around this?
I mean, it's been a pretty long year for me. Like, it's my first full Supercross and motocross season. Now we're doing this, and it's kind of just like I'm just looking forward to the next step. It's not really dwelling on the fact that I've been training for a year straight, and I think it's going to be important to get some time off, and I'll probably do that right after we race this. We'll come back and take a few weeks off. I don't think there's any really rush to get right into Supercross. Always have the option to do East again, and whatever happens. I don't think it's too much of a rush at this point.
Yeah, and you won Supercross title before, so how does it work?
I mean, for me, I don't mind racing all the time. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, as soon as I come back from the Nations, I'm ready to get ready for Monster Cup, and then I got my overseas races, and I do as many as they allow me to do. And I mean, for me, I enjoy it. It's way more productive than anything else I do with my weekend. So yeah, let's go.
Zach, you're the team captain. I know you're being modest. You said at Unadilla that's maybe because you're old. But I do feel like behind the scenes you were trying to get everybody on board, because it's tough after RedBud especially to get people to buy in. Oh, we're going to Holland. They're so good in sand. So talk a little bit about trying to be a cheerleader behind the scenes and try to rally the troops, because it really was necessary, I feel, this year to do that.
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, obviously the decision from the other guys was pretty early, long before the PR came out or whatever. And as soon as we kind of knew that it was going to be us three, there was no rallying. These guys have been on board, and everyone around Team USA has been on board with us three from the get-go. And I think that's, like I've said 50 times, a huge part of it is just finding guys who are enthusiastic and as excited about the event as everyone else. And we have that. We have three guys that really want to be there. Obviously, with our travel schedules and what we've told you so far, that's proven. And I think that there's no better choices than what we have, honestly. It's not like I chose the team by any means or I was a guaranteed person, but I think that since we were chosen, I've tried to do my very best as captain and rally the troops, and yeah, we're off.
So Justin, being the youngest of these guys, obviously, and they have both experience in this event, what are you going to do to just be a sponge and soak everything in? Like I said, Zach being a team captain, Jason having experience as well. Just what is that going to be like for you to both learn on and off the track with both of these guys?
Obviously, I'm going to rely on them a little bit and the team just as a whole to get as much information and knowledge I can. That we're all a team here, so we're all going to help each other out as best we can. And obviously we'll rely on them. But as for myself, I'm going to take all that knowledge and just do the best I can, like I do in every other race I enter. So we're a team. This is a team effort, and I think what I saw last year is I think the winning team had 40-something points, and that it just shows you that everyone it can be inconsistent, and it really just takes a consistent team sometimes. And we're just gonna go over there and put in what we can, and hopefully it all works out.
Zach, I got a question for you. As team captain, you have everything you're pushing for. Are you going to push for practicing all together and maybe pitting together as a team, or will they be separate pits?
We have actually made a really good plan with the team, and also we're working with Ustream to try to get everyone as close together as possible at the race. And then, as Justin said earlier, we've already made plans that when they arrive in Europe, obviously Jason and I will be already riding together and training together every day, but when they arrive in Europe, we'll be riding and training together also. So, it's a massive team effort.
All right. And then you said you're going to be testing with the teams over there Are you going to run their chassis?
We don't know.
Ahem. Yeah, Zach has to be careful about that one. What the story here is, there is an advantage to having KTM or Husqvarna riders on the team. I feel that the Euro and American squads work more closely together than a lot of the other brands. KTM's a little bit more of an overall global effort instead of like there's a European MXGP team and there's an American arm. There are different frames, from what I've come to know, that can be used in Europe because they do not have the production rule. And it will be interesting to see, A, if Team USA runs them, and if they do, if they'll tell anyone about it. But just something to keep in mind.
If anyone doesn't have anything else, I have one more. Okay, we know that the sand tracks in Europe are gnarly, but is this like that? It's a man-made track. They're bringing in local sand, so it kind of feels like that. But is this racing at Lommel? Does anyone know? Because we hear that the Americans to adapt to those tracks is really hard. But is this track that, or is it kind of a hybrid? Because it is built on a road race track. Does anyone know if it's the same as racing in Lommel or Valkenswaard or something?
Just from watching, I feel like it's a little bit flatter.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's...
they prep it after every moto for the most part in the GPs. So, but it's like, I think it's way more like that white sand.
Yeah, it's obviously very man-made too, and I think that when they pre-build the rollers, it changes the dynamic of it a little bit. Whereas, Lommel or Lierop or sand race like that, it just gets so nasty and deep. Whereas with this, obviously, it can only get so deep because it's pavement underneath, and then building rollers on top of that, it kind of doesn't allow those big holes, which is what's really, really hard to find technique-wise. So I think that favors us a little bit.
Dudes, that is a key point. A lot of there's no chance Team USA can win this race, they're going to get their asses kicked in Assen, is because of the general thought of the sand tracks in Belgium and Holland are completely different than anything here rides. And that is true. Dude, Lommel 2012, that was a horrible performance. I talked to Ryan Dungey, actually. He was at Ironman, and he said, yeah, I went out and practiced on Saturday, and I was like 6 seconds off of Tony Caroli. And I'm like, how am I going to make up 6 seconds? I've never ridden this. He thought he was good at riding sand until he rode that sand. But as we've now learned, it doesn't appear that Assen is quite that sand. It's not Lommel or some of these other absolutely bottomless tracks. It is a road racing facility. They bring in the sand, so the sand itself is similar, but the bottomlessness is not quite the same. So that is potentially not a level playing field, but more level than it could have been if they were racing at one of those sand tracks that just keeps on digging.
So Justin, being the newest guy to the team, are you nervous about it at all, or does that put any extra pressure on you, or like you said, just gonna let everything take care of itself, or how do you, like I said, are you nervous about that at all, or what?
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of pressure, but we're going in as a team, and that's what really this event is about. It's not really about me going there and killing it. It's about the team killing it. So we all have pressure on ourselves to go out there and do what we need to do as a rider and put what we can into the team. And that's, there's pressure on that. There's pressure on every race, though. So I'm just going to try and, live in the moment, not really, not let the big picture get to me when it's time to race, and just go out and do what I can do.
This isn't so much a question, but a statement. I think as a team, you guys are the best team we have and the best guys to go, and I'm really pumped to see how well you do over there.
We appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's a good note to end it. That will be our press conference. The bikes are in the pits, I'm assuming. They disappeared.
Yeah.
All right, bikes are in the pits if you want to take more pictures. Team USA, everybody. See you in Assen.
So that's your Team USA press conference. Most years, like I said, it's boring. I learned something from this one, and that's why I interjected some of the things that I picked up during it, especially Osborne saying just show up, because it's true. If you're top 4 or 5 in speed, then it might just come down to luck and being consistent. And if you can avoid the big problems, you have a chance at winning, even if it's not the track that works best for you. And in addition, maybe the steps they're taking to organize things will reduce the chances of bad luck. You can't control it all, but they can certainly control things better than they did at RedBud. And then again, look at all the other teams that are already running into injury woes. Just show up, guys. I do want to go back to one key point. I was talking about the Justin Cooper point earlier where he said everyone's looking at Team USA every year, and that is true. I feel like there is an extra thing on Team USA compared to all the other nations, and it is this simple. For the most part, every other nation in this event races the same series. They race the MXGP series. So if France beats Holland or vice versa or Belgium wins, it's just our 3 riders on this day were better. The AMA riders, they race the AMA circuit. And when Team USA loses, it then leads to fingers being pointed at every single aspect of the American racing culture. Is there too much Supercross? Do the riders not care? Are the tracks in the Nationals not rough enough? Which, by the way, is completely and totally ridiculous. The tracks in the Nationals are super, super rough. But the point is that it becomes a damnation not just on the 3 riders that didn't win, but on every part of the American racing scene. And it's only fair. The American fans and the American riders and the American team want to win. They expect to win. And if they do not win, obviously people are going to try to figure out why. And it's going to lead to all these conclusions that we ride too much Supercross, we don't know how to set up the bikes, we don't care anymore, there's not enough heart in it. We didn't have Tomac and Cien Cerullo. I mean, if Team USA doesn't win, you're going to hear that. So where I feel that if France or Belgium or Holland, they battle each other, again, that's just nation versus nation. In this case, it's a lot bigger for Team USA. Everyone goes on the hook. They'll blame Supercross. They'll blame the Nationals. They'll blame these teams. They'll blame these riders. Everyone is part of it. It's a lot different story when you're essentially picking 3 riders to represent the entire culture of the American motocross and Supercross scene against everyone else who races in the same series. You can't say, well, the reason that Paulin struggled is because he races GPs, whereas the reason Hurlings did well is because he races GPs. It's equal. You can't really point to that. So that's why I think there's so much on Team USA, and that's why it stings that much more when they lose, because they're, yes, carrying the pressure of their own nation on their shoulders, but I think they're carrying everything else, every round, for every rider in every class, every week here is on the shoulders of these 3 riders. So we'll see how they perform. I don't know if they're going to win. No one seems to think they will, but I do know from talking to these 3 riders that they're not, I'm going to say, offended when they hear that people don't think they're going to win. But I think they can win, and they should be considered as a team that can win. But the way the nations has gone for Team USA the last few years and racing in Holland on the sand, they are absolutely underdogs. I don't think they want to be considered underdogs. They know they haven't won the race the last couple of years, so they can't argue. But I think they think they're just as good as anybody else and they can do it. And maybe in the end, just believing that will help as much as the organization, the effort, and everything else. It's a better Team USA effort, I believe, than we've had the last couple of years. We'll see how it turns out. Thanks for listening to the Racer X Exhaust Podcast, brought to you by Yoshimura. 65 years of 4-stroke research and development. Talking about MXGP. Oh, yeah, MXGP World Champ Tim Geiser, who will be racing Donations, will have Yoshimura exhaust pipes on the back of his Honda. So check them out at yoshimura-rd.com. That's our show this week. Back to the standard interview format over the next couple of weeks. Thanks for listening.